Hey y'all, it's Bailey with Reclaim Grays. I'm so happy you clicked on this video today. I have several Christmas projects for you, but quick and easy projects. If y'all have a booth, you know the season is almost over for the retail, so I'm just trying to get as many projects done into my booths and hopefully sold. So y'all let me know which project is your favorite, and we're gonna get started right now. I hope everyone is doing well today. We're going to get started with project 1, which is a set of these brass candle holders I picked up from Salvation Army for $1.99 a piece. Thought that was a good deal. We're going to get these cleaned up with just some Windex, and here I'm showing you that these have quite a bit of damage, just some rust spots, but I think this is going to add to that charm. I have some bottle brush trees I picked up from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to take those little wood bases off by just unscrewing, and they normally pop right off. Get rid of that tag, and I did that for several trees. And I'm going to cut up some floral foam here to hot glue into the little candle holders, and I would just use a straight edge to just zip that excess floral foam away from our base. I just continue to add the floral foam until we can get all those holes filled. Here we are. We have floral foam in all the little holes. So now we're going to just add some hot glue on top of that foam, and then we will try to center the stem to our Christmas tree and push that straight down. I did hold on to these for a few seconds to give that glue some time to dry, and if my stem was a little too long to get my tree seated all the way down, I just took some snips and just trimmed that piece of wire. If things sound a bit off today, it's because I am using a new editing software, and why this week I picked to try it out, I have no clue. So y'all bear with me as I'm learning to redo this all over again. I'm just trying to upgrade my content a little bit and still have a huge learning curve. So here you see me making some black velvet ribbon bows that I wanted to hot glue to the tops of my trees, and I left those bow ends long and curly, and I wrapped them into the bottle brush trees. I love how this came out. I priced it for $25, and I have 2 of them available. Y'all let me know what you think about that project. Project 2, I picked up these kitchen utensils. I have some graters, a little strainer dish for about 25 cents a piece at a flea market this past summer. I knew I wanted to create Christmas ornaments with them because I know they would be cute on a Christmas vintage tree. So I had just cleaned these really well, and I'm just grabbing some little odd and end picks I had laying around, and I'm just gluing that to the back of our little grater. I did add some red berries to this one and a red velvet bow, but I did change them up depending on which one I was working with. You'll see here in a second, I decided to use some blueberries and some green velvet ribbon. And I love how each one of them came out. Have y'all ever made ornaments out of kitchen utensils before? Y'all let me know. This project was super fun. If y'all are ever wondering about most of the supplies you see me using, like the glue gun, the velvet ribbon, those kinds of things, they're in my Amazon storefront in the description box below. Y'all can go check that out. We're going to move on to this mini strainer. I love mini kitchen things, y'all, or mini anything, really. I am a huge fan of anything miniature. We're adding a miniature bird's nest to this one, and just some itty bitty greenery pieces I cut off of a bigger stem. Added a few of these Dollar Tree pine cones and a little bit of fake snow, and added a velvet ribbon to that one. And then this is the one I added the blueberries to. I'm just lightly tacking the back of those stems. Did not take much glue at all. And then added green velvet ribbon to this one. I am loving velvet, ribbon right now. It is becoming very, very popular, and it seems like the ornaments I have created this year and added velvet ribbon have sold extremely well. Are y'all on this velvet train? I'm loving it. I priced these ornaments at $9.95 per ornament, and several have already sold. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this project. Moving on to our next project, I picked up this vintage, I think it's a Lifesavers vintage tin can from a yard sale for like $1. And I have here a pretty cheap tree that I've had in my stash for a while. I shoved some floral foam down into that can and I hot glued the base of our tree to the floral foam. And now I'm just going to hot glue some of this moss around the top just to hide that base and to fill in that area. I wasn't liking how that moss was super green, so I took some of the Dollar Tree moss that kind of has a darker green tint to it and hot glued that to the top. I gave our little moss a little haircut just to get rid of those long, scrilly pieces, and then I decided the tree needed something red. So I had these berry picks that I cut up, and I'm just hot gluing those into the tree. I did decide to cut off the leaves that are on the berries because I just kind of thought it made it look better and less cheap looking. That was my mom's opinion. I thought the leaves were fine. Y'all let me know what y'all think. But I did cut them off, and then I drilled a hole into our tin and into our lid, and I'm just going to tie this up there a little shoelace bow because I did not want the tin lid to be left behind. It was a pair, and I wanted the owner to have the tin. This was a super, super easy project. I priced it at $28.95 and it sold right away. That's very good profit for me. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this project. So here I have a cabinet door and it still has the glass in it. I took it off of a cabinet that I'm using in one of my booths and I just didn't need it. It was sitting around the workshop. I needed some wall decor for my booth, so we're going to make over this cabinet. I have two of the doors, and I'm going to take this hardware off. We're not going to be putting it back on, and we're going to give this a really good clean. We need to clean up that surface so our paint sticks well, and right about here I decided I was going to take out the glass, but first I went ahead and cleaned up the front of the piece and then flipped it back over, and they had little rubber wedges holding the glass in that just peeled right out. So I decided it would be easier to take out that glass, and that's exactly what I did. We're going to use milk paint on this piece. I wanted a nice chippy finish, and with milk paint, it just comes out incredibly vintage looking. So if you have never used milk paint before, it comes in a powdered form, and you just mix equal parts powder to equal parts water. So I did 2 scoops of each, and then you whisk it very well for about 2 to 3 minutes, and then you set it to the side and let it thicken up. Showing you the consistency here, and it will thicken up even more than that if you just be patient. I'm not a patient person, so I went ahead and used it. I'm using a chip brush, and the first coat always looks pretty rough, but as you apply the second and sometimes third coat, it really grabs onto that paint. So we're going to go ahead and slap this coat up here, really getting into those details all around those edges. And then I always dry my coats in between with a heat gun and for some crackle here and there. Here you can see me focusing on an area and those crackles just start popping up. And that's exactly what I'm looking for. I wanted to show you what the second coat looks like going on. Like I said, it really grabs onto that first coat. This cabinet door took about 2.5 coats. I just touched up a few light areas. But like I said, I'm going for a nice vintage look here, so perfection was not the goal. Once that paint was fully dry, I'm taking my fingernail and just chipping off that flaking paint. And then I wanted to get some sandpaper out and just distress along the edges of our cabinet door. I'm using a 120 grit here. Not much grit really left on this one, so it's more like a 220, and I went around those edges. I dusted off our cabinet doors very well, and we're going to seal these with Sweet Pickins dark oil wax. If y'all have seen my milk paint videos before, you know I love this product over top of milk paint. It really brings out those crackles and just seals it perfectly and makes it look more vintage. It does kind of scare you a little bit because it goes on dark, but you just apply it in a nice thin layer, leave it alone for about 10 to 15 minutes, and then you come in with a lint-free cloth and wipe off all that excess oil. Once our oil wax was good and dry, I put the glass back into our cabinet doors, just using that same little rubber wedge piece. I added a thrift store reef, just using some twine and a staple to the back. And here is our cabinet door. I love how it came out, and I priced it for $35.95, and it sold very quickly. Y'all let me know what y'all think about this project. Our next project is this frame I picked up for $2 from a yard sale. I love the rustic look it has. I knocked out that backing piece because we're going to be putting something on it in just a second. I wanted to undo this wire because I want it on the other side. So I'm just using my little wire snips here, untwisting the little curly Q, and eventually I did manage to get the wire fed back out of the top of our frame. So now I'm coming in with a drill bit, and I'm coming in at a diagonal so I can come in through the top, out the back, just like that other piece was put in. And then I kind of measured my piece of wire so I knew where to put my second hole, and I did the same thing. And now we're just going to feed that wire back through, use our wire snips to curl that wire around in a little curly Q just so it stays in place. You may be asking yourself, Bailey, why did you go through all that trouble? And it's because I knew I wanted to put this piece of rice paper from Decoupage Central in this frame. It's a buck in some Christmas greenery. It's nice and rustic, and I felt like it belonged in this frame. I'm just going to use that backing that we knocked out of the frame and a glue stick to adhere this rice paper. And once I get it all the way worked down, I'm going to use my brayer tool just to go over that surface to make sure it has nice good contact. I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to get rid of those excess edges and use my staple gun to just attach that backer piece back into our frame. And here it is. I love how it came out. It was a nice and easy project. And y'all let me know what you think about this one. I priced it for $20. With our next project, we're moving back to the bottle brush trees, taking those wooden bases off, and we're going to just simply glue these into some spools of thread. I picked up for a quarter, probably not even a quarter a piece, at a local thrift store, added quite a bit of hot glue, and held those trees down firmly until that glue set up. And we're just going to put all 3 of these trees into a spool of twine. I wanted to add some velvet detail, so I just laid my piece of green velvet on my work surface, and we're going to tie a bow. You do not see me put too many bows on my project, but I felt like in this video you've seen me do it twice. I'm not a great bow maker, y'all. It's something I definitely need to practice with. But I did go into my button stash and add a nice green button to the other 2 spools and a button on top of our bow. This was a super easy project, but I love how they came out. I priced them, I think, for $12.95 a spool, and yeah, I love how they came out. Have y'all ever done this project before? Y'all let me know. Moving on to our next project, here I have some wooden mushrooms. The little ones came from Dollar Tree. They come several in a pack, and when I seen that Dollar Tree had them, I grabbed several packs. Y'all know I love mushrooms, and I wanted to put a mushroom tree in both of my booths, so we're going to make some mushroom ornaments. Just taking some red, this is very old Dixie Belle paint. It only took 1 coat to get full coverage on the tops of our little mushrooms. These larger mushrooms I got from Amazon come in different sizes to a pack. They were not much. I'll have them linked in my Amazon store too if I can find them. And I did apply a coat of red paint onto the tops of these mushrooms as well. Here I have some little tart tins. I've had in my stash for quite a while, and I knew I wanted to create mushrooms out of them, so we're going to give them a quick coat of red paint too. If y'all are enjoying this video so far, please hit that like button and consider subscribing if you have not already. We are almost to 6,000 subscribers. That blows my mind, and it is definitely appreciated. Y'all's support means a lot to me. We're going to continue with our little mushroom ornaments. I cut some dowels to about 2 inches in length, and we're just going to paint our little mushroom stems an off-white color by Fusion, and this only took 1 coat. Once that red paint was dry, we're going to take the end of our paintbrush dipped into that same off-white Fusion paint and just give our little tops a few random dots. Try to be as random as possible here so it looks more natural, but just don't overthink it and have fun. I added a lot of dots to some and kinda not a lot of dots to others, so just have fun with it. While I have this paintbrush out, I'm going to paint the stems to our other wooden mushrooms, and then we will dot those up as well. I'm going to give the underneath of these a quick coat while I have that paint out, and then we're going to move back to our tart tins, adding quite a bit of hot glue here and then pressing our stems into the center of our tart tin. Gave that a few minutes to cool off and dry, and then I'm going to come in with my Cricut weeding tool that has a pretty sharp point on it, and I'm just going to use a hammer and center that pokey part into the top of our tart tin. Gave that a good smack, and that will give us a good starter hole for us to put some eyelet hooks. I got these eyelet hook pack off of Amazon. It was pretty cheap, and they were very tiny. So I started that with my fingers, and then I used that weeding tool just to turn it around. That gave me much better control, and I did that to all of our mushrooms. And then I'm going to add a little bit of twine to the top of it and tie our little hanger off. I wanted to age these mushrooms up a bit, so I just took out my brush that had some Fusion aging wax still left on it and grunged these mushrooms up. I think that's exactly the detail they needed. I'm going to use our little pokey tool again to get a startle hole in these wooden ornaments, and I'm going to use these same eyelet hooks just to drill or screw those into the top. And then we're going to take our twine and feed it through the eyelet hook, tie that off, and then I felt like I wanted some more details to these ornaments. So that moss you see beside me, we're going to add to the top as soon as we get done grunging these mushrooms up as well. I just used a little bit of wax here, wiped off the excess, did not apply it to the very top of our mushroom because we're going to be covering that area up. So I just added a little bit of hot glue and then pushed that little fluffy moss to the top of our mushroom. I love this green color, just pops on the top of our red mushroom. This one has to be my favorite. I love how this one came out. Y'all let me know which mushroom ornament is your favorite. I love every single one of them, but y'all know I love mushrooms. That is it for today's video. I hope y'all enjoyed it. I hope y'all got a lot of inspiration for some quick and easy Christmas projects. Y'all let me know which project was your favorite, and I appreciate y'all so much for spending your time with me today. I will talk to y'all in the comments. Bye.